Could Chris Jones join the Chiefs' arch nemesis in the Las Vegas Raiders? Well, there's a report going around that could potentially be a possibility, but the bigger thing, Chris Jones responded to that report with, guess what? Another cryptic tweet. What a surprise. We appreciate you joining us here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace Sanders. And I asked the question right away because I certainly want him to be in Kansas City next year. But if you would like Chris Jones to stay in Arrowhead Stadium and be with Mahomes, Reed, Kelsey as they try and go for the three-peat, well, then like this video. I need the good vibes going because Chris Jones, man, every single day there's either a report that it's going to be happening soon or there's a report that he's going to be going to a different team. I just want him to sign back with Kansas City right now or right here, but unfortunately I don't make the decisions. But we do have positive vibes that we can send his way. Go down there and hit that like button. I'd certainly appreciate it. Plus, it helps out trying to get everything in the right direction for Chris Jones back to KC. All right, here's what we got from Mike Garafolo on the NFL Network. Said this: listen, he may stay in the AFC West. James Palmer, multiple teams in the AFC West need help on defensive line. I'm just saying the place that he played his last game with the Chiefs, maybe he'll play his first game with somebody else. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm trying to find a way to allude that it's not the Raiders that I'm talking about. It's kind of crazy. Now, there is no clear evidence to this because obviously he was just basically stating that if he played his last game in Allegiant Stadium as a Chief, maybe he would play his first game with his new team, the Raiders, in Allegiant Stadium. He went on to basically not give any backbone to this story. There's nothing that says, oh, he's talked to the Raiders. He said this. I think it's just alluding to that is a possibility and that Chris Jones would like to stay in the AFC West even if it is not the Kansas City Chiefs. However, though, Chris Jones responded to this. Now, he didn't respond directly to the NFL Network or directly to James Palmer or anything like that or Mike Garafolo. He instead had somebody quote tweet an article also talking about this. Charles Goldman, one of the great Kansas City reporters, you should follow him on Twitter. He had an article basically going through the same situation, talking about basically everything I just said and how Mike Garafolo alluded to Chris Jones joining the Raiders. Well, a Chiefs fan account quote tweeted it and said, "You do this and you're dead to us," and tagged Stone Cold Jones. Chris Jones then responded with a handshake emoji. Now, this is not the first time we have seen Chris Jones send a cryptic message on Twitter. We've talked about it multiple times on this show, and he continues to do it. Whenever he is on Twitter in a contract situation, whether it's a holdout, whether there's something he wants, he always just goes on Twitter and just starts putting those little fingers to work and somehow finds a way to send something that could mean something, could not mean something. But a lot of the times, he just likes to have fun with our emotions, it seems like, and play with them by saying this or saying that, when in reality, there's stuff going on behind the scenes that nobody knows about besides maybe him and Brett Veach and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not going to take it lightly, though, because I don't like the fact that he even responded to anything like that. The fact that he could potentially play in the silver and black would literally break me to my core. Funny enough, though, this is all following a report from Diana Russini that a deal is basically, I'm not going to say imminent, but the word she used was growing optimism toward a deal with the Chiefs and Chris Jones. Now, I'm going to get to that report and kind of talk you through that if you missed it from a couple days back and kind of rehash on what exactly that means and if there's any new reports from that. But before that, I have a question for everybody watching this show right now. You're watching the Chiefs Report every day, but how likely are you to recommend it to a friend, a family member, a fellow Chiefs Kingdom member? I want you to scale that from 1 to 10. Hopefully it's a bunch of 10s, but listen, I want to make this show as best as it possibly can be for you, the viewer. So if it's 1, give me a reason how I can make it better. Let me know. But how likely would you be to recommend this show to anybody, your friends, your colleagues, your work friends, your neighbors, whatever, your grandma down the street? I don't care. Scale it from 1 to 10. How likely are you to recommend this show? Let's go back to that Diana Russini report on The Athletic saying, the race to retain Chris Jones began this week. The Chiefs hope to do just that before 11 a.m. Central Time on March 11th, when agents of unrestricted free agents can enter contract negotiations with any interested team. Chiefs general manager Brett Veach acknowledged Tuesday that re-signing Chris Jones is the team's top priority. By Thursday afternoon, when several members of the organization flew home to Kansas City, there was, quote, growing optimism, according to league sources, that the Chiefs will agree to a new contract with Jones before free agency. I can't say I know if anything has changed since then with the whole Raiders report coming out, or whether or not that talks have died down, if Brett Veach has been unable to reach Chris Jones over the past couple days since the NFL Combine has ended. But I can tell you this. Chris Jones had the speech at the parade that made it feel like he wants to be in Kansas City, and they hope that he can get the right price. From what I'm hearing, the Chiefs are trying to get him somewhere around $27 to $28 million. Now, Chris Jones thinks he's worth around $30 million per year. I don't know if the two sides will meet in the middle and go 28.5, or maybe they'll go 29. I could not tell you at this current moment, but I do know the Chiefs are trying to get him for just a little bit less than probably what he could get on the open market for a couple other teams. At the same time, you play for Kansas City, you got a chance to go back to the Super Bowl and become one of the first teams, or actually the first team ever, to three-peat in the Super Bowl era. All right, still to come on the show, we got L'Jarius Sneed trade rumors heating up as now 7 teams have reached out to the Kansas City Chiefs asking about what he would cost, along with Joe Burrow praises Kansas City and says they're the blueprint. I'll tell you more about that and why I think this could potentially lead to another epic AFC Championship game later on in the show. But if you're looking for some nice Chiefs gear that you can wear to work, wear to church, you got those Sundays, you're going to church, you're going somewhere nice, you're going out to a nice restaurant, guess what? We got a Kansas City Chiefs polo right here that you can get 40% off. Chatsports.com/KCPolo. It's a really good deal. You can wear it to pretty much any nice event. And heck, it's still got your Chiefs pride right on there. I'm telling you, it's a nice shirt, good quality, and it's 40% off right now. Usually around $80. You're going to get this for around, I believe, 50-ish, 55, somewhere around there. Maybe a little more cheaper, 45. You can go check it out, though, at chatsports.com/KCPolo. We're going to have that link in the comments and the description of this video. I promise you, you're not going to want to miss this one out. Go down there, chatsports.com/KCPolo for 40% off a super, super nice polo. All right, let's talk more about L'Jarius Sneed, because there was a report that there has been around 8 teams to reach out to the Kansas City Chiefs about L'Jarius. Now, we have the full list of 7 teams. They say there are 8. We don't know the 8th one for whatever reason. Here's the 7 teams that we know have reached out to Kansas City about L'Jarius. First one being the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans, the New England Patriots, the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's the 7 teams we have total right now that have reportedly talked to the Chiefs, and we have their official team names. There's one more team that supposedly is out there. We don't know who. Now, let's kind of dive more deep into what exactly this means. So the Colts are one of the top teams that have pursued Sneed, I've heard, but it sounds like they're not willing to surrender a second-round pick, which is what Brett Veach is asking for at the minimum. He would like a second and a fifth is what I would think, but from right now, he's going at least for a second-rounder. The Colts are not looking to surrender out of the way. Now, the Vikings and the Atlanta Falcons are both potential suitors, and I think they would honestly fit well with L'Jarius Sneed, but they're also looking for their quarterbacks. And given that that is the first priority, they're probably going to focus on that until they figure that out. Then they could probably potentially pursue Sneed even more. The big thing, though, at the bottom there, Sneed is the one who is talking with all these teams. The Chiefs have franchise tagged him and have allowed him to talk to these teams. He wants to play for a contender, so I doubt he's going to be asking the Atlanta Falcons or the Minnesota Vikings about playing because, no offense to them, they weren't anywhere close to contenders last year. The problem with all this is there is a nightmare scenario that is somewhat brewing with the past 2 topics we've talked about with Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. I saw it floating around Twitter, and I hope it doesn't happen, but there is a potential that the Chiefs end up trading away Sneed and then are unable to sign Chris Jones in time. Now, how would exactly this work? Well, I think timing is everything on it because you have Chiefs trading L'Jarius Sneed, you're trading him away as you're trying to get that contract space and cap space open for Chris Jones. Well, as soon as you trade Sneed away, maybe there's a contract somewhere else that Chris Jones finds better suited for him and his NFL career. Obviously, I don't think that would happen. I would have to know and hope that Brett Veach has the wherewithal to understand this and the potential for this to happen. And so I think he's going to make sure that, say Chris Jones does sign somewhere else, you have L'Jarius Sneed locked up, and at that point, you extend him. I mean, that's exactly your first move. You're probably trying to do so in some facet now, but I think that overall, Chris Jones is obviously the number one priority. You got to get him in line. But man, oh man, I really hope we do not have to be sitting here a week or two from now and saying, I don't know what happened. Let's move on to a different topic, though, because I think that's a little bit of a hard-hitting news. Got to talk about potential nightmare scenarios. But I think it's funny that one of the guys who everybody talks about is better than Patrick Mahomes because he beat him in the playoffs. He praised Kansas City as the, quote, gold standard today. He said this earlier. The blueprint is right in front of us. We watched it unfold. I feel really good about that matchup for our team. We just have to put ourselves in that position next year to have the opportunity at the end to go and win it. They're the gold standard right now. They've been to 6 straight AFC championships and 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. Oh, by the way, Joey B, you forgot they won the last 2 as well, and they've won 3 of the last 5. Now, I will start here and say that Patrick Mahomes has only lost to 2 quarterbacks. One of them being Joe Burrow in the postseason. The other one being Tom Brady, who you cannot really argue right now is the GOAT above Mahomes that he's trying to reach. I think one day Mahomes will be there, but that's the one you're kind of reaching. But these are the only 2 guys that he's lost to. And obviously, Joe Burrow does have some injury problems, but I say that if he stays healthy in 2024, I have to think we're on another collision course of the Kansas City Chiefs facing the Bengals in the AFC Championship game again. Why? Because that matchup has just been epic. I think Joe Burrow was honestly what Josh Allen was supposed to be to Mahomes. He was supposed to be that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady type thing. Instead, he got hurt a couple times, and, instead Josh Allen has faced Patrick Mahomes more. But guess what? Never beat him. Burrow has. I asked the question, though, maybe I am wrong, maybe you think that it's not going to happen. Will Kansas City and Cincinnati meet again in the AFC Championship game in the 2024 NFL season? Curious to know what you think about this. Type Y for yes or type in for no. Let me know in the comment section down below. And hey, make sure you follow me on Twitter because we talk about all these trade rumors, these Chris Jones stuff. Well, guess what? I'm tweeting out everything, man. Every single time I've got stuff going on. So go on there, give me a follow at Jace Andrews _. You can also check out my Instagram. You can find it on my Twitter right there. Got a lot of amazing stuff happening, so go follow me. There's the Instagram at Jace Andrews _15. And before you leave, hit that subscribe button. We're putting out great content every single day, and I certainly appreciate any and all who watch this show. For now, Chiefs Kingdom, though, peace out.